Alright, hello everyone. So today we'll be looking at the Yield My Flesh to Claim Their Bones rerun BokGak. And for this one, we'll be getting the opposite team. We'll be getting the Kurokumo clan as our new ID. So let's just skip ahead over here. We have our first one, which is going to be an event reward identity. Kurokumo clan Wakashu Heathcliff. And this character here is a reward identity, which means you get him for free. He is also a 3-star, which is kind of insane, right? So one thing to note here is that, look at that, there is an Otis sitting there in the Kurokumo clan's headquarters or wherever the hell they are right now. They are in the circle right now chatting. So Blade Lineage Otis exists. And the fact that we see her now implies that she probably betrayed the Blade Lineage gang and went over to the Kurokumo side. And another thing is that Blade Lineage Otis was kind of ass in the Blade Lineage gang. Like, you would probably rather not run her in Blade Lineage for poise or any shenanigans because she's just not that good. But the fact that she now could be a secret agent for Kurokumo or a betrayer might be why her Blade Lineage Salsu ID is actually so bad compared to her, maybe in the future, Kurokumo Otis, which is going to be a lot better than this one. That could be like, oh, I'm actually hiding my true power over here. Surprise, I betray you, I show you my true power, I wreck all of you. And this is also a little bit like the Trojan horse moment over here, so the Odyssey looks like it has a purpose. Right, anyway, let's look at the coins for Heathcliff. We have 1, 2, skill 1. We have 1, 2, skill 2, and then we have 1, 2, and 3 for your Heathcliff skill 3, right? He's going to be clashing over here against this enemy. Does the 1, 2, and then 3. He's swinging that thing like a giant bat. His ally gets hit, and then he triggers a counter attack. And if we look at the counter attack and basically all of his slashes, a lot of blood is coming out. I'm not sure if that's like the regular animation or it's just me noticing that they are applying a lot of bleed to the opponent. I'm guessing it's just me not realizing that I'm actually spilling a shit ton of blood after such a long time. But anyway, another thing to note here is that Gregor here is going to very, very sadly get killed, right? So after he gets killed, Heathcliff will now unleash a significantly stronger attack where he swings 3 times instead of 2 times. So this character seems to be an archetype where his allies get hit, and then he triggers a counter attack. But if the ally dies, he triggers a stronger counter attack. Just as simple as that. And it looks like he's going to be very bleed focused if I am looking at things correctly, or I could just be a guy who doesn't notice these details. But Kurokumo clan is supposed to be a bleed archetype or a slasher debuff archetype in general. So I think that this is appropriate to what they are supposed to be doing. Anyway, the next ID here that we got is going to be Ishmael. And I'm thinking that this is supposed to be Sayo, because if we look at this art right here, right, like tattoos left, right, and then we got the giant sword, golden sword, Sayo sword. I don't think we actually do see it. And then we also have the 2 chopsticks in the hair and it's tied up like this. We go to the Sayo over here, and that's pretty much Sayo, like 1-to-1 Sayo. And Sayo back in Ruina is basically a character that gives slash dice power up, so is buffing slashing damage, and then upon a successful slashing, you inflict bleed, right? It looks like only 1 bleed here, but don't worry, this is just Ruina standard of bleed. In Limbus Company, this would have to be a lot in order to make it a lot more significant. So we're getting our good old Captain Ishmael over here, and I'm not sure if it's Sayo or another captain of the Kurokumo clan, because I don't know if Sayo is from Backstreet 34, right? I do not know if she's actually from there. Okay. So we have skill 1, 1, 2. She also says rules of the Backstreet. Uh-oh, June reference. We got skill 2, 2 coins. And for skill 3, we have 1, 2, and 3. The slashing animations are really, really quite nice. And for this part here, they just lost their clashes, right? They clashed. They did not guard, they did not counter attack. They actually clashed. After losing, they get hit. What happens is that this triggers a counter attack onto the opponents. So I think that means that she is buffing them, giving them free counters as long as they get hit, regardless of which skill they use. If we look at the IDs for the Kurokumo clan, right? The Kurokumo clan is guard, 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 right? And we just saw Honglu do a counter even though he has a guard skill. We saw Rodion do it with a clash loose into the counter attack. She does 2 slices, which could be that because her guard skill, her counter skill, it lets her transform it into Sky Clearing Cut, her skill tree, if the target sorry, I can't remember the requirement here. It's at 5+ poise. So I think that what happened here is that if you are able to get 5 poise on your Wakashu Rodion, you will be able to actually use the innate counter from the Ishmael to skip yourself with the Dark Cloud Blade into Sky Clearing Cut, which I think is a pretty decent buff to her, really. Because this thing, right, inflicts 10 bleed on crit. The question is, how are you going to feed her the crit in order to let her do it? That requires her to use her skills, right? She will need to use her skills in order to build it up. And then after that, you need some other way to feed her a bunch of crit. But since you innately let her counter, that could mean that she'll be able to get poise count by getting hit, which is quite an interesting mechanic. And then eventually, once you build up a bunch of poise count, a bunch of actual poise potency, you only need 5 poise potency to trigger this. So only using your skill 2 one time is already enough to feed you enough. And then you just let yourself get hit afterwards and you trigger the Sky Clearing Cut, where you use your flesh to claim their bones. In a way, it's like rules of the backstreet, right? But it's on the other team now, right? It's on the Kurokumo clan's team and it's done through Rodion, which I think is a pretty interesting design. Just giving her innate counter so that she becomes a lot more viable. That seems pretty damn cool. Right, so Ishmael accepting the showdown as the 34th captain of the Kurokumo clan. We are going to skip a bunch of this stuff over here. You can go and watch it yourself. We are also getting Aingdu as a event extraction announcer. She's not a free announcer. She is going to require an extraction. And after this character over here, we will be getting another announcer from the opponent team, which is the Kurokumo clan. We will be getting June for the event extraction announcer. Right. So now you get to have June in your background, teaching them a thing or two about the rules of the backstreets. And then, hey, look who's back. We get to fight Kim in the mirror dungeon again, except he never left. It's just that we'll get more boxes from just doing it in the dungeon. So, pretty interesting event overall. Can't wait to see it. I want to really know how much bleed count, bleed potency you'll be buffing to our allies over here. And I wonder how that counter mechanic, synergy with this Rodion here, would actually elevate the team or not. Another thing to talk about for this team is that Sanguine Desire Rodion, right? It's not really fueled well. You do need to get Wrath and Envy, because this team has no Wrath and Envy at all. So hopefully the 2 new IDs are able to do that so that I can use Sanguine Desire like at least once every now and then. But if they don't let it happen, then I wonder how strong it's going to be, because while the Blood Fiends are going to be very focused on enabling themselves, right? They are basically Unga Bunga. They are Unga Bunga IDs who want bleeding to make them even more Unga. While these characters here, they are not innately Unga Bunga, but they do a lot of status application and debuffs. So it is possible that maybe their whole archetype is going to be something like we'll just trade hits, we'll just do a bunch of counters, and the enemy will die to attrition faster than we do, right? Because we don't do too much damage, but our bleed will do most of the work for us. I think that's a pretty good and pretty balanced way to make this status pretty damn strong. And bleed is one of my favorites because of Back in Ruina. Really, really fun status. So I hope we finally get to see a pure bleed archetype where I actually do get to just run some of these Kurokumo clans, and we'll be able to just only rely on bleeding and debuffs and make the enemy unable to clash us. That could be a very cool kind of archetype, right? Where Gregor is actually going to be a major debuffer for the party, where he inflicts, I don't know, more offense level down or something. I don't know what they could do, really. I don't know what they could do. But it would be cool if they just do some sort of control and bleed, and then you just attrition the enemy to death instead of making yourself Unga Bunga with the bleed status. I mean, whatever the case is, I think it's going to be fun if they do it like that, but it won't be like super meta if they do it like that. Anyway, whatever the case is, we will just have to wait and see. The coinage, as we saw here, is not too spectacular. There was no big 4-coiner moves from what I could see, so I'm guessing they're going to be more status focused than anything. So yeah, that's going to be my final prediction here. All status focused, all debuff / bleeding focused, and maybe some unique statuses to buff all of the bleeding characters, and maybe innate mechanic like Blade Lineage Kim, where she's able to give all of her Kurokumo clans additional bleed application, or maybe some way to innately build up a special status that gives them more bleed application or more debuff application. Yeah, alright. So that's going to be it, I think, for this initial thoughts here. We will just wait for the kit review on, I believe, Monday, right? Yeah, I think it's Monday. Okay. Thanks guys for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.